Well, we're 4 days into Lent, and we've had 1 day of fasting, and 2 days of abstinence, and you were probably craving that bacon cheeseburger already on Ash Wednesday and the first Friday of Lent. And it's funny how that works, isn't it? You know, it's only when you can't have something for that day that you really crave it. Now, I do like the idea during Lent to try to do a number of different things during Lent. Following the pattern of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Maybe to do a few more devotional things, or to try to give a little bit more to various charities, and also to give something up. I usually try not to say, although people somehow will find out what it is that I'm giving up. So we're 4 days into Lent now. So I can assume, because I'm looking at all of you out here, that everyone here has been good and faithful, right? So every person in this church has thought through very, very deliberately their Lenten plan for themselves. And not one of you have caved in, and you've all successfully given up or followed what you pledged to, right? Okay. All right, well, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, unless everybody wants to be honest out there and do so, but no, I won't ask that. But if I did ask for a show of hands, and if you were really, really honest, I would imagine that the number of hands that would go up would surprise us. And I don't mean because there would be so few. I mean because there would be so many. And we all know the reason why. And it's one word: temptation. Temptation. It comes up a lot this time of year. And we hear the stories of Jesus' temptation in the desert every year on this particular Sunday. And I think we can draw some solace from the gospel story in knowing that even the Son of God was tempted. Even the Son of God had to deal with difficult choices, difficult decisions, and demanded courage and fidelity and sincerity of heart. And sometimes, as we well know, even a not-so-good thing can look pretty good in the moment, or can seem like a good idea. Jesus had to deal with them, and not just in the desert, and so do we. And I'm always surprised at how easy it is to give in to temptation, even regarding the little things that really don't seem to matter that much in the big picture. You think that the little things, okay, all right, I won't have any soda, or I'm going to give up those cookies, or I'm not going to have dessert. Those little things, that would be the easiest. They're not. That's why some of us just give up on giving something up, whatever it is we have chosen for Lent. And maybe you've already had that candy that you've sworn off. Or maybe it was a beer or a cocktail that you said, well, I'm not going to drink this Lent. Or maybe you've already missed those extra prayers. Or maybe you had that cup of coffee. Or maybe you missed that opportunity to go to that daily mass. Or maybe you did have that bacon cheeseburger yesterday. It all happens to us. We fall into the same trap, all of us, at one time or another, in one circumstance or another. A temptation of some sort comes our way. And what do? Too often, we take the easy way out and we give in. Even St. Paul struggled with it. He wrote, he could not understand or accept that he did things that he didn't want to do. And that's the struggle of the moral life. So you think, well, we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves, right? Because those examples that I mentioned aren't going to bring our lives crashing down. Our failures in our Lenten sacrifices are probably not going to cause great harm to the world, right? But yet, We shouldn't dismiss them entirely either. It may just be that our continued fidelity in the face of those very small temptations might develop in us a habit that helps us make better, holier, life-giving choices in the hard-to-resist face of serious temptation. We call these little habits virtues, which is what we try to grow in. That's the why behind our giving in to temptation is not really easily explained, because so many factors shape who we are and why we do the things we do that there's no simple answer. But our faith can provide some important and revealing insights. And we heard that very well in the first reading, known as the story of the fall, the world-changing choice of Adam and Eve. It's a rich story, and it can be helpful in our understanding of who we are and who humanity is as a whole. And I encourage you and I invite you to delve a lot deeper into that story at some point during Lent. Because 2 points come out loud and clear from that story. The first is that the world is not the way God created it to be, and it isn't for one reason. It's out of the disobedience of men and women. It is through our own individual choices that we shape the world, for good or for bad. And God gives us a say in how things come out because of our free will to choose so. And second, these consequences and conditions have been passed down and continue to this very day. Once sin entered the world, everything changed, and we change. The theologians like to talk about the 2 effects of this fall that every person has to deal with and everyone has to strive to and overcome. You know that God gave us what distinguishes us as human beings. He gave us the power to reason and also a free will to choose. Well, one of the effects of the fall is a diminished intellect and a weakened will. So put simply, we don't always know how to see clearly what is right. And the times we do, we often quite can't find the strength to choose it. It's in both seeing and acting that we come up short. And that's why temptations get the best of us. Sometimes something looks better than it is, and other times we kind of know something is wrong, but we give into it anyways, and we find some reason to choose it over something better. And so maybe we should include those very things into our prayers, that let's pray to work on reforming our lives so that we can start seeing things a little more clearly, see things as God sees them. And then let's pray for the strength and the courage not to take the easy way out, but rather the holy way out, the way that leads to a better you, a better me, and a better world. So today, God is tempting us to be the best that we can be. And that's the one temptation that we would be wise to give in to.